The Truman Show. You are part of The Truman Show. Have you ever seen that film, The Truman Show? It's a classic film, and I think that you should watch it. And when you do watch it with your third eye open. You feel me? Make sure you paying attention to everything. You are living in The Truman Show, right? Everything, everywhere, all at once. Just like the film that came out in 2023, the algorithm, everywhere you look, information, 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 information. Doesn't mean it's always good information, but information, information, information. Post, 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 post. It never stops. It never stops. You are living in a time where your brain never cuts off. You are constantly being fed, right? You are being fed by the algorithm all day, all night. Technology, man, it has its pros, but it definitely has its cons. And one of the things that one of the dark sides of it is that you're being fed all day, constantly, and you don't control the algorithm. Sure, you can filter you can filter who you follow, and you only want to follow vegans, the vegan food. You only want to follow uh, healers and holistic teachers and all that. Your scholars. That'd be beautiful, but you only, you know, for the most part, a lot of the apps have gotten so smart now that they have this thing where it's like for you, right? Or it'll say for you, and it's the feed. It's feeding you what's for you, but I'm not even interested in that, right? And once I see that, it's stained my mind, right? The subconscious mind can't throw away. The subconscious mind doesn't know real from fake. So when that's in my for you, but I'm not even into that. But it's in my for you. What is that? That's the algorithm feeding me a bad diet. It's a poor diet, right? And on Instagram it's the same thing. It's you scrolling, it says sponsored. But I have nothing to do with that. I didn't ask for that. Right? So that's like now it's like you go out to eat and your waiter brings you food that you didn't ask for. That's poisonous, right? That's against your diet. So that's what we're living in. We're living in the Truman Show, right? If you're on social media, which most of us are, we're living in the Truman Show. And algorithms are being manipulated and controlled. This is what Drake is suing Spotify for, right? Everything is fake. Nothing is real. At the end of the Truman Show, he asked the question: Was any of it real? No, it was all fake. It was all fake. When you see LeAngelo Ball make a hit overnight, right, on a big streamers podcast, it's a beautiful thing. But was that real? You don't even know if that was real, right? Because we're living in the Truman Show. Was any of it real? Was any of it real? Who knows? I know one thing that is real. Right now, California is on fire. California is on fire. And I want to send love and light and send peace, and say prayers to anybody out there dealing with that right now. Right now, people are fleeing their homes. Schools are burning. You know, it's terrible right now, and sadly, you are seeing people celebrate. As dark as that may sound, you are seeing people celebrate because you're looking at some of this footage of some of these houses that's on fire, and it's like, oh, the biggest mansions in the hills, they don't even have blinds. It's just a glass house of the rich, right? Seeing the rich being eaten, and the bottom class and the middle class who are being eaten by the rich, on a day to day. They don't mind sitting there looking at the rich getting eaten. I think it's a low frequency vibration, but this is what this is what the algorithm creates, right? Desensitized, right? When we was growing up in the hood, I never forget the first time I ever seen a person get shot. I was a teenager. It was traumatic, right? I couldn't sleep for nights. Um it was damaging to my mind, right? And then I got desensitized to it, right? But in the hood at one time, it was only so many people that had ever seen that. Not everybody has ever seen anybody be shot before up close and personal. So that's something that traumatizes you, right? But now, with the dark web, we got kids that's on the dark web. We got for you pages where uh some of the we drill rap where we're seeing kids are growing up seeing hits, you know, on their camera, on their phones, right? And they're getting desensitized. Like, they said the video game Doom desensitized the Columbine shooters in the 90s, right? So desensitization, I believe that's a word. We gonna roll with it. So anyway, yeah, so that's again, we're in the Truman Show, right? Um, so you have to keep that in mind. And we're also in, since we're dealing with film, we're also in everything, everywhere, all at once. The feed, the algorithm, it never stops. Even when you sleep, you wake up to check your phone. Gotta check your likes, right? The algorithm. I read somewhere today that 80% of X is bots. Man versus machine. You may be arguing with a bot. Was any of it ever real? Anyway, so Trump wants to take Greenland from Denmark. That's interesting. That's very interesting, right? I also find it very interesting because in the year 2021, during the COVID, it was a film that came out called Greenland, and it was about uh, a catastrophic um, asteroid coming to crush America, but and everybody was going to everybody that was essential, the engineers, the builders, the rich, were going to relocate to Greenland. Got to check that film out. It's interesting that now we see Charlie Kirk and we see Donald Trump Jr. and we see Trump saying that they want Greenland. Right? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Also, he wants to take over Canada, make Canada a 51st state. And if Canada don't want to get down, he said maybe we'll stop holding their hand and we'll stop doing things for them because they need us. We don't need them. What's up? This attitude that Trump has. Um, the second term, we're seeing the mask off, like Future, mask off. You know what I mean? Unapologetic Trump. Trump that wants to give um, white kids a form of reparations. Because affirmative action was terribly wrong for white kids in his eyes, right? Changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, just doing things that just pushing all the buttons in the rocket ship. This is just Trump right now, right? Saying he wants to defund any school that teaches Black history. You know, this is what we're dealing with right now. There's a lot of things going on in the world. I hope that you're paying attention. We deal with entertainment on this channel, but I don't deal with entertainment in my real life on a day to day. You know, I'm a very serious person. One of my teachers, one of my great teachers, she had a quote, and it was to read more than you watch TV. And I try to live by that. I try to live by that these days. You know what I'm saying? And I've tried for the last couple years, several years, to read more than I watch TV, to get information, not just information, but good information, not just confirmation bias, but even information that I disagree with. I want to take that. I want to learn that. I want to, fact check it and get the right answer. It's not about me being right. I want to find the right answer. I want to get the knowledge. So that's working on ego. You know, so as I said, California is on fire, and parts of it mirror Mars, right? Which is kind of interesting because Elon Musk is very, very obsessed with Mars, and Elon Musk hates California, right? Now, I found this very interesting. It's a fact. I don't know if you know, but Elon Musk was named after a book that came out in the 1950s called the Project Mars book, right? It was written by a Nazi rocket scientist, and Elon Musk is a rocket scientist, and I would call him a Nazi, but yeah, I don't want to go there all the way. But some of the things he aligns himself with, he's working hard to get that title. So Elon's father allegedly was very obsessed with Nazi culture in South Africa. When he was in South Africa, he was obsessed with this culture, which ironically, so was Trump's father, and so was Trump, according to his wife. In 1992, she said that he slept with a Hitler book. You know, so very, very um, pro-white, pro-white way of thinking, ideology, right? Um, very, very great replacement theory, esque. Get what I say. So anyway, I find it odd that um, well, let me scratch that. Elon got his name from this book, The Project Mars, where it was figured that he would that Elon would a guy named Elon would discover Mars, right, and would colonize Mars. And it's ironic that Elon Musk is out to colonize Mars in today's times, and he's named Elon off of that character in that book. We got through it, right? Again, I do all these off of the hip, so you just have to work with me, but I give it to you organically. You know what I mean? A lot of places don't do that, but I do give it organic. So when I do, you know, run into like a little mind going blank out, I'm a deep thinker. Sometimes my mind just I might start thinking about basketball. I'm looking at the game right now, but anyway, so back to the lesson. I also want to deal with um Trump coming out blaming uh you know he's blaming California as governor. Karen Bass is getting blamed by the right wing. And Karen Bass is she really is a great woman. Let me tell you something. In 2016, during all of the Black Lives Matter protests, COINTELPRO was coming back silently. They were in the works of bringing COINTELPRO back silently, aimed at black leaders of this era. Many people didn't know that. Karen Bass fought against that, and she put them on full blast. So Karen Bass is always good in my book. You know what I mean? But she's taking the hit right now. She's taking blame from that side also. Everything is politicized. Everything is divisionist with this group. It's not that I have anything against Republicans. It's just that this group seems to be very, very divisive, and I think that it's, as Americans, we should come together more than just fighting. But right now we're dealing with the evil. We're dealing with the evil, you know. But yeah, so even in times of tragedy, we see things get politicized, right? And it's nothing new. It happened all during the COVID situation. Now, so America is being ran by right now rich billionaires. Donald Trump, RFK, come from a very rich family. Vivek Ramaswamy, you know, um, his parents were very, very wealthy. His high school tuition was $16,000 a month. This man is wealthy, you know, and he practiced hate. He practiced hate to get himself into office, and then once he got into office, or once he got into the cabinet where where he wanted to be, then we seen that he was pro-immigrant, you know, while being anti-black the whole way to get in. Now we see that he's even having infighting with MAGA because he's for his people more than for um white Americans, which MAGA thought, the MAGA is coded for white Americans only. That's how many of them believe. Not all of them, but that's how many of them understand. It was a clip of Patrick Betts where he was finally realizing this, and he was like, "Whoa, this base that I love, they don't even they want me to get out of here." So it was eye opener for him. Can't say I told you so. So, um, we got Mark Zuckerberg coming out wanting to get rid of fact checking on the algorithm. Right, he no longer wants to fact check, and let's talk about business being war. Right, I'm gonna tell you why the Democrats lost the election because the Democrats were not prepared for the online war. They didn't you know they was dealing with the PS3 while the Republicans was building the PS5. What I mean by that, right? So right now Fox News is the number one watch channel on TV, right? So that's already covered. But a lot of people don't watch mainstream news anymore. A lot of people don't have cable anymore. So what do? They use podcasts. People watch podcasts. Uh and so podcasts like Joe Rogan became, you know, almost a right wing hub in 2020, right? Theo Vaughn is right wing, and many of his talking points. Candace Owens, The Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Patrick David Betts. These are all right wing guys, right? And people have been being fed this hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines. It don't stop. They dominated this. They dominated this podcast arena, and that's where they beat. That's where they kicked the Democrats' ass at. They was ahead of the curve. The technology. Whoever wins, whoever has the best technology wins the war. It's always been like that, you know. And the algorithm is part of this war that's being fought. And that's why you're seeing TikTok be sold, right? Because they want control of that algorithm. They want to control that algorithm of TikTok, right? They tried to make it seem like, oh, TikTok is giving Americans a bad algorithm. But you know what? X has porn on it. What are you talking about? So we knew that was cap. We knew that was cap. We critical think and knew that was we use critical thinking, and that's um not teaching you what to think, but teaching you how to think, right? And by us knowing how to think, we knew that was cap. Because if it was a morality thing, Twitter wouldn't even exist. But they wanted to sell TikTok because they can't control TikTok. So the whole thing is, hey, sell TikTok to a right wing American. So we can feed the people the diet that we want them to have. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Swipe, 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 post, 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 post. Fear, 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 fear. Hate, 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 hate. Entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. Blind, 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 blind. That's what we dealing with, man. Got to get your health right. Got to get your diet right. And your diet is not just what you eat through your stomach. It's what you're eating through your eyes, what you're eating through your ears. That's your diet too, man. Got to protect this. It's a lot of people are at war for your mind. It's called mind wars, right? It's a mind war right now. Was any of it ever real? That's what he asked. That was the question. So, um, we also have to look at um the radicalization of religion, right? When we look at the New Orleans situation, we're seeing radicalized religion, radicalized Islam, radicalized Christian nationalism is on the rise. White Christian nationalism is on the rise in America. Super conservatism, hate, xenophobic, homophobic, hatred, anti-immigrant, unless you're white. I didn't mean to say that out loud. I got love for white people. Y'all know that. But we gotta keep it a bean though. It's we got people out here that are xenophobic and hate is winning. Hate is winning. Unfortunately, hate is winning in America right now. Right? We are good. We are the gods, and we are um fighting against something that looks like the way California looks right now, right? It's burning. It's burning. And but we will prevail. We'll prevail. Um as I said, this is the Truman Show. You know, you are being fed, you know, um it's never been a time like this where the technology is so, it's so weaponized. But it is indeed weaponized, and people are being radicalized on social media, whether it's just you know watching videos that make you just want to buy stuff all day and purchase and purchase. Rappers being signed because, see, many rappers are being signed just because they want their billboards for European fashion, right? It's just not nothing to do with how good he rap is, how good she rap is. That'll make a good billboard, right? You know, it's an influencer. These are influencers. Not about skill anymore. It's about influencers. And if you can influence to me or her to go buy um more material BS that they don't need, you we may be somebody that you want to work with, right? So again, the diet of being fed, you're being fed. Um and then we're dealing with radicalized conservatism, radicalized Christianity, radicalized Islam. Well, you got to study World War II. You will notice that one thing that um, Joseph and Hitler did, Joseph Gerber, one thing Hitler did was that they focused on media, weaponized media. That was their main thing, to weaponize media. So you have to understand that it's a war on your media right now. It's a war on your media. Everything, everywhere, all at once. You know, you gotta watch what you are watching. Fact check what you are reading. Did you know that Mark Zuckerberg wants to get rid of fact checking to push propaganda? You know, we are in times where I don't want to I don't want to fearmonger, but I do want to tell my people it's time to escape the matrix. You know, it's time to get right, man, and understand that you can be on these apps, but don't let these apps turn you into something because they want to control you, right? They want to control you. They want to create robots. Elon creates robots, and he wants to use his algorithm also, which is mostly bots, to also create bots. How do you create a bot? You give him stuff to download into his brain, into his DNA. You know, that's the chip you want to put in your brain. His algorithm of hate, his algorithm of negativity, his algorithm of divisiveness, his algorithm of BS on the For You page that you didn't ask for, feeding you. That's the feed, the news feed. You know, business is war. And as you see more and more of these billionaires buying up podcasts, buying up social media apps, it's because they are at war to control your diet, to control your mind through this technology, the algorithm, everything that goes viral went viral because they wanted it to go viral. Everything that was suppressed because they wanted it to be suppressed. Time to escape the matrix. Was any of it ever real? Hey man, I'm about to slide, but I want y'all to pay attention. Um, and I want you to understand that, you know, it's a war on you right now, whether you know it or not. And it's realer than just entertainment. It's realer than just entertainment right now. Peace.